when we talked about what is the vision and national service, I think it does not begin or should not begin at the high school level. I think it needs to go to the primary school level.
Leveraging and launching our creative industries in the country.
That's gotten mixed reviews.
Well, I think what got mixed reviews is not the concept, but the labeling.
What we do today will affect those coming after us.
Good evening, Bahamas, and thanks for joining us at MB12. Coming up tonight in news, the latest on Tropical Storm Chantal, the opening of Todd English's Olives restaurant, what the leader of the opposition thinks about those constitutional recommendations presented to government yesterday, support for changes in the Senate, and a member of the Dissident 8 reflects on 40 years of independence. We have those stories and so much more coming up tonight. I'm Christina McNeil, and your MB12 starts right now. Thanks for joining us. Forecasters continue to track Tropical Storm Chantal, which continues to gain strength. Chantal is moving rapidly away from the Lesser Antilles and into the Caribbean Sea. According to forecasters of the U.S. National Hurricane Center, the Bahamas could begin feeling the impact of Chantal early Friday morning. Puerto Rico and parts of the Dominican Republic are under tropical storm warnings. Watches have been issued for Hispaniola and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Local forecasters are advising members of the public to remain on alert and pay attention to all weather forecasts and warnings and watches until the system has moved out of the area. Chantal is expected to impact the Bahamas in a matter of days, and officials are asking residents to begin preparing for what is expected to be a direct hit if the storm stays on its current path. Meteorologist Michael Stubbs says considering Wednesday is a national holiday, now would be the time to complete those preparations.
Just be on your alert and do what is necessary to prepare yourselves. Residents take the necessary steps to secure property and to make provision for the repairs to their homes and also to secure non-perishable items in the event of storm.
Stubbs also advised residents to head to their local supermarkets and stock up on water and canned goods. He adds that with recent history proving that storms are becoming increasingly unpredictable, residents should not wait until the last minute to prepare. And with this hurricane season expected to be more active than usual, he says it would be wise to remain prepared over the next 5 months. Experts predict that there will be 4 major hurricanes and 9 smaller hurricanes this hurricane season. Well, scores of new jobs injected into the economy as the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island has added a hint of Mediterranean flavor to its impressive lineup of restaurant brands. The resort invested millions of dollars into the world-famous Todd English Olives restaurant. Atlantis officials say it's a concept visitors and Bahamians can really sink their teeth into. Vonique Toot attended last night's official opening and has this report.
In just a few months, officials here at the Atlantis Resort transformed the Atlas restaurant into the ultra-sophisticated Todd English Olives. Officials invested $18 million into Olives and the Moon Bar, creating nearly 100 new jobs for Bahamians.
Lift your glasses. Cheers, everyone.
And with a champagne toast, the Mediterranean-style restaurant was officially opened Monday night, making the Bahamas home to one of just 5 Todd English Olives in the world. The first opened in Boston in 1989, followed by New York, Las Vegas, and Mexico City. The man behind the restaurant, celebrity chef Todd English, says it's about bringing his love of Mediterranean cuisine to the world.
Life is about pasta, and pasta is about life in Italy. And this machine that we got is the Ferrari of pasta machines. There's only 4 in the world, and we have one of them here in the Bahamas. And this machine can do anything. I mean, it's amazing. So every pasta you'll eat here will be fresh.
The restaurant has 268 seats, a private dining area, and will cater to guests 20 hours a day. Managing Director of Kersner International Bahamas, George Marcantonis, says they're excited about giving both locals and tourists something else to sink their teeth into, while providing more jobs for Bahamians.
We've got 180 employees. That's 60 more than we had when Atlas used to be here. So it's more jobs, a broader variety of food, something more to attract our customers, and at the same time, we're keeping the whole place fresh.
Add to that the 12 jobs created with the opening of the Uber Chic Moon Club. The resort will also invest another $5 million into the new Kanto Racing Sportsbook facility, scheduled to open next to Nobu on September 1st. Prime Minister Perry Christie says when Brookfield Assets Management took over last year, he questioned whether the new owner would be able to live up to Kirshner International standards. That fear, he says, has been laid to rest.
They indicated to me that they understood, they loved the property, they were committed to the Bahamas, and they had to make this work in a really meaningful way. Well, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. They are spending $48 million this year alone on this property.
He says it's also clear the Atlantis Resort is preparing for fierce competition that will come with the December 2014 opening of the Bahama Resort on West Bay.
Given what is happening in the Bahamas and what will happen in December of next year, you are making great strides in preparing yourself for the competition that will obviously ensue in 2015.
Tongue in cheek, could I just say to you, I'd already spoken, but had the Prime Minister given me the microphone after he said that, I would have said, what competition?
On a more serious note, though, Mark Antonis says it's not about competition. As the Atlantis Resort prepares to celebrate its 20th anniversary in the Bahamas, he says it's about keeping things fresh and exciting.
Next year is Atlantis' 20th anniversary. It's not like this is our first movie. We have been here, we've been doing this for 20 years. We're not some new kids on the block.
Olives officially opens to the public tonight. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonik Toot.
The Free National Movement is in full support of the constitutional changes recommended by the Constitutional Commission yesterday. Opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis yesterday congratulated the body in doing a wonderful job in its undertaking. Paige McCartney has more.
Minnis is particularly pleased that the Commission recommended eliminating bias against Bahamian women that prevents them from automatically passing citizenship onto their children born to a foreign spouse.
I am ecstatic that now women would have the right for their husbands having equality and the right for their children having equality and the right for citizenship. I am very, very moved and motivated by that. I'm also happy that they've recommended an independent boundary commission. I'm a staunch believer and supporter of democracy, and I believe that every Bahamian has a right to vote for whomever he or she chooses.
The commission also suggested that the Prime Minister's powers be modified so that instead of having the authority to dissolve Parliament at any time, the nation's leader must give at least 9 months' notice ahead of a general election. This is a recommendation the opposition leader said he completely agrees with.
I think you should have some advance warning so that prime ministers do not try to manipulate democracy, because if they feel at any particular time that it's advantageous for them to call an election, though that may not necessarily be what the people want, except at that particular time, then the whole democratic process can be manipulated and changed. I think if it's done like that, then individual has sufficient time to look at the issues, look at the things that they're being confronted with, and make decision and determination as to who they want, as opposed to making it just on short notice at a time when they are most vulnerable.
The commission also recommends that there be a size limit on the cabinet, capping it to 15. Minnis said he agrees with the size limit on cabinet. He said this could save the government money.
You don't want to be placed in a position, let's say moving forward, the opposition, we became government and we won over 30 seats. You don't want to be placed in a position where just to please individuals, you increase your cabinet to 20, 30, whatever. That is unfair to the Bahamian public. And if you have a smaller cabinet, you would choose the best, and individuals would definitely perform and they would work.
Other notable recommendations include the retention of the Privy Council as the country's highest court of appeal and retaining the Queen as the head of state. The report came after 9 months of closed sessions and town hall meetings across the country. A referendum based on some of the Commission's recommendations is expected in November. For MB12, I'm Paige McCartney.
Well, during the Constitutional Commission's information gathering stage, there were widespread criticisms of the functions of the upper house, according to the Commission's report. With that criticism came calls to abolish the Senate. However, all contributors considered, rather than doing away with the Senate, the Commission has recommended the expansion of the Senate. Senate President Sharon Wilson says she is not only pleased with the recommendations made regarding the Senate, but she is in agreement with them. According to the Commission's report, it recommends expanding the Senate to include additional representatives made up of representatives from government, the opposition, and those appointed by the Governor General after consulting the Prime Minister and Leader of the Opposition. The report recommends independent senators representing religious, economic, social, geographical, and other interests the Governor General believes should be represented. Wilson tells our news team she supports those recommendations.
I do believe that there is room in the Senate for us to have persons who bring special expertise and who bring viewpoints of particular segments of our community. And to the extent that that is being recommended, I believe augurs well going forward for our democracy.
Some contributors called for the lowering of the age qualification to the Senate to 21, the same age that applies to the House of Assembly. However, the Commission recommends upholding the age qualification for the Senate, which is currently set at 30. But Wilson also weighed in on some of the other recommendations she believes have been a long time coming.
I believe that that one is one that will find a lot of favor amongst not just Bahamian women, but the Bahamian public generally. It is high time that we do have that gender neutrality that is being now spoken to by the Commission.
Once government has accepted or rejected the recommendations, they must then be accepted in Parliament, both the upper and lower chambers. Wilson says before the recommendations move on to the Bahamian public, they should be well educated about how the recommendations will affect the country.
I believe once the Bahamian people understand, I believe a lot depends on the process. And I believe the process has to include education and understanding and also reasoning with the Bahamian people. And once that is done, frankly, I have every confidence that the recommendations are very reasonable. I believe persons would see them as meaningfully deepening the democracy of this country, and they will be accepted.
The Prime Minister says Cabinet will review the report and craft the government's position on the recommendations before presenting it to the Bahamian people shortly.